Well, good evening, everyone. I'm broadcasting live November 1st, 2015. And our non-Dhammapada nights have now taken on a bit of a, I think the word is a pallor. They're less colorful, less lively. Not sure what we're going to do now that I've decided not to do Dhammapada every night. Maybe we won't do anything. Maybe I'll say hello. Thank you all for practicing. I guess I can take the time now to talk about our online courses. It's not like there's any good in advertising them unless I start to get a little bit more vigilant. We'll see. Actually, it's not really about that. There's, 28 slots, and 24 of them have been claimed so far right now. And that goes up and down, but 24 is about as high as we've gotten, and pretty much everyone comes out as expected and is practicing diligently, at least an hour or two a day. So that's really it's become sort of the highlight for me. It's a real focus, because the biggest problem that I've had in sort of sharing this meditation technique is that I've always felt unable to share more than the first step. So everyone's been thinking, well, this is it, this is the meditation that I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. If I follow this tradition, is just stepping right, stepping left, rising, falling. It's a very simple technique, but as many of the people who have started taking the course have found, it gets quite complex, actually, or quite involved. And there's quite a bit to it, not just the adding of extra elements to the practice, but there's also the interview process, and there's even more. There's the next step, which will be having people come to do intensive courses, which of course is the best, but also the most difficult to arrange, for us to arrange, and for the individuals to arrange to actually get out here. But at the very least, what we're doing is, well, besides giving an introduction to the practice, we're also reducing the amount of time that you would have to spend practicing intensively to finish the course. So my idea was that if you do this for a while, we could finish the foundation course intensively in about a week. And to get that far would probably take 12 to 14 weeks, maybe more. So you'd finish you'd get all the technique down, and then you'd come here and put it into practice intensively for about a week, and you could pretty easily finish the course. So there's still 4 slots available if someone wants to take Tuesday morning or Thursday afternoon, or there's one on Saturday morning that's now available. Apart from that, we have 24 people doing it, which is great.
And you have to keep track of everyone.
I don't know. I just ask them every time, what did I give you last time? I don't keep track of anything. They could be lying. They could...
Now, has anyone else done this that you know of in this tradition to hold online courses, or is this kind of groundbreaking?
In this tradition, I think it's new, but our tradition isn't all that huge, I mean, I don't know in other traditions. I mean, it's not something that I think is very well set up, very commonly set up, where you'd have this kind of online system. I do know that people have done, right, so if you're just talking about having online courses, I do know people, even in this tradition, another monk under my teacher was probably the one who gave me this idea, because he does this, so he's done this for a long time, where people would meet, we would talk to him once a week, and he'd lead them through the course. He's from Israel. As far as I know, he still does this. So he'd benefit from this kind of setup. I could set him up a website, but there's a little bit of tension, because the whole international group of people, the people I started with, they're not comfortable working with me because I had a falling out with their head guy many years ago.
I think there was a question.
Are you able to get on the site yet?
No, it's coming
Hmm.
up on my phone, just not on my PC, but it's just one of those days technologically.
Oh, strange.
It is,
Maybe
yes,
there's
because
a maybe there's a cable cut between Connecticut and Ontario.
no, the Hangout's coming in just fine, and all the other websites are coming up just
Well,
fine.
we're going through Google, that one. Oh no, this is in Pennsylvania. The server is in Pennsylvania. It's just a question of where the server is. There might be a problem. Who knows?
But it's coming in on the phone
Oh,
perfectly.
it is? Oh,
I have found a Buddhist gathering in my town. They tend to meditate twice a week there. I'd like to go, but they practice karmapa meditation, and I'm not too enthusiastic about it. What do you think? Is it worth going?
the problem we have here is no one hears. If you're listening to the audio, you don't hear Robin, so she's talking
Oh,
to me, and
okay. Well, I'm reading the question on the chat panel, so you'll have to read it there.
yeah, I know, I saw it. So there's a group practicing Karmapa meditation. I'm not too enthusiastic about it. Is it worth going? I don't know anything about Karmapa meditation. I mean, I can't actually, I don't think this was actually directed at me. It's kind of, what do you guys think? So I'm just one of the guys, but
You're one of the
um,
guys with a little more informed opinion, so
uh,
that's special to get an answer from you.
I don't have an informed opinion about Karmapa. I don't really. I mean, I guess I can. I don't really have that much of an informed opinion on going to other meditation groups. I know that when I have done it, I would just do my own meditation because it's not like they have thought police that are making sure you do their meditation. But it can also be a little bit awkward. I remember when I was first starting in this technique, I would only do this, and I went to a Dharma group and they did walking meditation in a circle. And I was kind of rude about it. I just went off into, well, it wasn't rude. I went off into a corner and did my own walking meditation back and forth. But I think, if that were to happen today, I certainly wouldn't go off and do my own walking meditation. I would walk with them in a circle because they walked together. They walked around the room in a line. So I wouldn't get as stubborn as I was, but for the most part, you can do your own meditation. Do a little bit of their meditation if you like. It's nice to go in a group, to be in a group, but I think in the end you might find it more trouble than it's worth, unless you like their meditation technique.
Yeah, I've done the same, gone to different groups, but just done my own. Not with the walking. I do walk in a circle with them, but as far as the sitting, I do my own. Because as you said, no one knows what's in your mind. But
Not no one. Most people don't though.
most people don't know what's in your mind.
Never know. You might find someone who can read your mind.
Well, then they'll have probably a look on their face because they'll know that you're not doing the meditation that they told you to. So you'll be able to tell, I guess. Hi, Bante. Sometimes when I try to know, I get caught in the train of thought and then I automatically go back to noting my walking or whatever. And then I recognize I was thinking or fantasizing in the past, maybe 5 or 10 seconds ago. Do I note that or just move on and try to catch current things arising?
Trying to note, I get caught in the train of thought, and then I automatically go back to noting my walking or whatever. I then recognize I was thinking. I see. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't automatically go back to noting walking. You should try to catch the thought and say thinking. You should stop walking and say thinking, thinking. Or you can just ignore it. And again, if you recognize it, you can. I mean, walking, you can to some extent just leave it alone. With all of it, keep it simpler than worrying about this. Just in general, if any one thing is taking you away significantly from the walking, then that's when you'd want to really definitely stop and start acknowledging it. But to some extent, and it's a judgment call on your part, you can do it either way. You don't have to stop to note every single thing, but normally we would stop and put our feet together and then say, thinking, thinking, or distracted, distracted. Slow night.
Yeah.
All right. Well, originally I just intended this to be a sort of come online and say hello kind of thing. So we don't have to sit around here for long periods of time. It's just a way to connect with people. Oh, here we have somebody. Please put a question tag at the beginning of your posts, like Patrick O just did. Start your post with a Q colon space.
Greetings from Singapore, Bante. Could you kindly explain the differences between awareness release and discernment release, as mentioned in the suttas? Do you think they both lead to total unbinding?
I don't know what awareness release and discernment release are. I think you're talking about Ceto Vimutti and Panya Vimutti. Ceto Vimutti is, it depends exactly who you're talking to. I mean, Ceto Vimutti involves samatha meditation. Panya Vimutti involves vipassana meditation. Now, you might say that Ceto Vimutti is only samatha meditation, so it's entering into the mundane jhanas. And Panya Vimutti is the attainment of nibbana. Or you could say Panya Vimutti is the attainment of nibbana without the jhanas, without the mundane jhanas. And Ceto Vimutti is attainment of nibbana with also having attained the samatha jhanas. So there was a group of monks in the time of the Buddha who another monk came who became arahants, and the monk came up to them and asked them, said, "Oh, so do you have all these magical powers, and have you attained the formless jhanas and so on?" And they said no, and they said, "Well, how could that be?" And they said, "Well, we're panya vimutti. Vimutti is freedom, and panya, I guess, is discernment. It's wisdom is more common translation. But they're just terms, and you have to see how they're used. So panya vimutti is thought, I think, by the commentaries to mean that they didn't practice samatha meditation. They only practiced vipassana. And it's curious that in that sutta, he doesn't ask and they don't deny having attained the first four jhanas. And we argued about this some years back. There was a debate about what this meant on one of the internet forums back when I was involved with them. Um, and someone was saying, trying to explain that away and say, well, just because they didn't doesn't mean they actually attained them. And I said, well, honestly, they have to have attained the first four jhanas because they attained them when they realized nibbana. So that's why, in my mind, that's a reason why they couldn't ask about that, because absolutely, if you become an arahant, you have to have attained jhana. It's just a super mundane jhana. But you haven't attained, or you don't have to attain the arupa jhanas or magical powers, because those are specific to samatha jhana. So it's a bit of a technical question.
And then a less technical question. Can monks keep juice overnight?
Monks can keep juice until dawn. As soon as dawn arises, the time when you would then be able to eat solid food, the accepted opinion is that the juice has to be thrown out or used for other purposes, whatever those might be.
So if it's offered to you with your lunch, you can keep it throughout the afternoon and evening?
Well, there's some debate, there's some talk about how if you accept it for food, then you have to eat it, but I don't think that applies to juice. But so if your intention is to have it in the morning when you receive it, and then you decide, oh, instead I'll have it in the afternoon, there's something about that where it's a problem, but I'm not entirely sure how that applies. I don't really pay much attention to that. It's but there is something like um, if you keep salt as a medicine, you can't then the next day sprinkle it on your food, right? But that doesn't have anything to do with your intention. That's just you've kept it more than a day, so using it as food isn't allowed. But using salt as a medicine, you can keep salt for your whole life. So yeah, as long as, well, it wouldn't work anyway. But yeah, juice is something that even if you get it in the morning, you can keep it until the next morning.
Is just something that you find personally helpful to you with going the whole
Yeah,
afternoon without?
yeah,
Okay.
juice is great. It's the answer to this an answer. I mean, it's the happy medium because a lot of Buddhists, Theravada Buddhists who keep the rule not to eat in the evening actually don't keep the rule because they have a lot of soya milk and even heavier things. Like they were trying to argue to have this soft tofu drinks, like it's a sweet ginger drink with soft tofu in it.
Like a smoothie?
No, it's chunks of very soft tofu, the chunks of them in a ginger drink. It's a Thai thing.
Oh,
It's too sweet, but otherwise it's pretty good. I mean, having ginger and tofu is great, but probably a bit too sweet to be healthy.
'cause I think just in general in the volunteer group, we're trying to figure out ways to support you as best as possible. So if we can figure out a way to have juice there that's offered to you, and then you could keep it through the afternoon or evening, that sounds like it would be a good thing. So try to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, if someone comes in the morning and offers a juice drink as well, then I can keep that for the afternoon. But I can also, because people have already given me, uh, well, they've given me the meals in advance through the gift cards. I can go to Tim Hortons potentially and get a juice there.
Do they have something good there?
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
sort
they
of
have orange and apple juice.
good.
I think it's overpriced, but I'm sure it's overpriced. But
That's okay though. Monte, I'm working on these Spanish subtitles. There's a program to edit subtitle files, and once I finish the first file, I'll send it to your mail. Not a question, but
okay, well, thank you for working on the subtitles. So you can't. I guess you can't. That means you can't upload them yourself. You've looked and can't. Let me see.
well, no matter what work is done, it would have to go through your YouTube channel for it to reach its intended audience. So
There's a YouTube subtitles add-on, but that's probably the best. You cannot add a subtitle track to someone else's video. You just have to share it. So I have to be responsible to put the subtitle up.
Yes, Fernando says he can't, but he can send them to you. And then a question from Anthony. Bante, if a layperson is watching over food in the monastery fridge overnight, you have not broken a rule, right?
Well, monastery fridges are, I mean, technically it has to be a little bit more organized than that. There has to be a room in the monastery. I mean, maybe even a building. I don't know how, if you want to get really technical, but at least a room that is designated as a, I think it's called a kapiyagara or something, a room for the kapiya, for the, something like that. I don't know, can't remember the exact Pali term, but it's a place where the lay people, that belongs to the lay people. So the stuff in there is not for the monks. So like if I had juice in my room, if someone kept juice in my room, then I couldn't drink it even if they offered it to me. Like if there was a refrigerator in my room. But we consider the kitchen to be off limits to me. All the stuff in the kitchen is not mine. All the food and any of the drinks and any of the stuff, except the ice cubes. I had to make ice cubes a couple nights ago because no one made ice cubes. That's an important first aid item. We didn't have any. Are you listening, Aruna? No, he's.
Did someone injure themselves?
I did. I injured myself. Yeah, I was putting up a screen. A couple of the guys came from the Buddhism Association came by on Sunday. Wait, Saturday? Yesterday? Friday? Maybe Friday. And they wanted to watch a Buddhist movie or a Buddhist themed movie. I think they ended up watching just an order. I don't know what they ended up watching. I didn't. I was kind of. I came down and it was in the middle of actually a. I don't even want to say it was in the middle of something that probably wasn't appropriate for a Buddhist monastery. But um, anyway, I think probably we're gonna have to talk about if we want to do that again. But definitely, if we have Buddhist movies, I'm happy that they come. I think they just didn't have a sense of what was a good Buddhist movie worth watching. But they asked if they could come over, do some meditation, and watch a Buddhist movie, which that's great. So I put up the screen for them in the basement. But as I was putting up the screen, I pinched my finger. Pretty bad, actually. I'm surprised it didn't get all blood blister. But I immediately went and shoved it on. It's placed it against something really, really cold in the freezer. Probably the thing that creates the ice. And just left it there for a bit. While I looked for ice cubes, I couldn't find any.
Hopefully, Aruna is listening. But you can always take water, right? Even if it's from the kitchen.
Yeah, no, and I made ice cubes. There's ice cubes there. I mean, I filled up the ice cube trays. They just weren't full.
Yeah, they evaporate after a while if no one uses them. That's always the case in my freezer. They're always empty ice cube trays because they evaporate. But yeah, good to know all the possibilities of, being able to send support and have it be useful to you. For clarification, I mean in the case that the layperson intends to offer the food the next morning. Is that okay?
It doesn't matter whether the layperson intends to offer it. It matters where it's kept. It has
So,
to be kept outside of the monastic. If food or anything is kept in the monastic quarters, that's not allowed. The monks can't. It's called anta something, kept inside.
so at your monastery, you would consider the kitchen to belong to the
Yeah, I
meditators.
mean, we haven't officially designated the kitchen as being the special room, but that's sort of just a given. In fact, I guess I could say the only part of this that is really the monastic part is the upstairs. So I would suggest that that is off limits. Keeping stuff upstairs is not allowed, or it's allowed, but I couldn't partake of it.
And when food has been sent for the meditators, for example, the breakfasts that Tina will send some dry foods for breakfasts and things, and if the meditator was eating breakfast and wished to prepare breakfast and offer it to you, is that allowed?
Yeah, I mean the meditators, as long as the food is not kept in my not kept in my dwelling, not kept by me, and not cooked by me. Those are the three aspects. They're not allowed.
That's good to know.
Okay, enough. No? Don't want to. I think we just sit here and people will start to try and think up questions to throw at me. If you have, if people had questions, they would have asked them by now. If you
No,
had
I'm
really
just
had
trying.
questions.
Yeah, no, I know no meditation questions, but I was really trying to, get a little more information on what's proper as far as offering food to you. And I think,
Okay.
no, that's not a question. That's a comment. Okay.
Tomorrow we'll have Kundalakesi, the story of Kundalakesi, which is a Dhammapada, the next Dhammapada verse. See, when we go without it for a couple of days, then everybody's looking forward to it. So
It's more special.
it's more special.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thanks Robin for helping out.
Thank you,
Have a good
Bhante. Good evening.